What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to episode number 203 of The Nonsense Review. That's right, we've got an episode for every single Simpsons character on the back of one Michael Baxter.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That is really cool. You primed me saying that you were going to do something cool, and there it is.
It's officially a Guinness World Record, Rick. Do you want to guess what the world record is for?
Is it for, it's either something really obvious, like number of characters, or it's something like number of eyeballs.
You're close. It's in fact, you're remarkably close. The specific record is the most number of characters from a single show.
Okay.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the article that I read on this also said that the record for the most tattoos of the same character on a person is 41, and it's also a Simpson character. It's Homer.
41 Homers.
And it also specifies it's all on his left arm.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, but I'll share this link with you, Rick. The tattoo itself is actually really well done. The tattooists should be quite proud of themselves, and it cost quite a bit, but back tattoos do. But yeah, that's got the general gist of it. If you want to have a gander at that,
that is really good because it uses some colours that I know to be very difficult to keep prime in tattoo ink, like blues and greens.
That explains why my tattooist prefers red.
Yeah, because red and black stay red and black. Blues and greens do not.
Yeah, the only colour that's not red or black on me is a little bit of green in Maria's like it's a little gem at the top of her scarf, and that's kept his colour quite well, but it's such a small amount of green that it hardly matters.
Yeah, cool stuff. All I can look at is his underpants as well. It's the worst thing. It's nothing to do with everything else that's on there, and it's just like, nah, his underpants are higher than his trousers.
But I think I might be wrong, but I suspect that that particular underpants brand was like, hey, if you make it really obvious what underwear you wear during this promo shoot, we'll give you a couple quid.
Yeah. Slip you a couple of grand. Well, it really is obvious that it's Bond's underpants. I don't even know if that brand exists outside of Australia, but oh well.
It sounds like a fucking Australian brand, though, doesn't it?
It does a bit, doesn't it?
But yeah, it's actually quite wholesome as well. Like, the chap got interviewed and he was like, I like The Simpsons, my grandkids like The Simpsons. It felt like an obvious thing to do.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm your host as always, Devon. Joining me equally as always is Rick.
Hello, everybody.
Today we start the Month of Mystery, which is our kind of lame name for our kind of cool subject matter for this month.
Yeah, we're doing standard, well, not standard, we're doing assorted mysterious things. Detectives predominantly, but also a couple of other things as well that are not quite detectives, but detective adjacent.
Yeah, I think the only straight up detective classic formula show / movie we're planning to do this month is a classic Sherlock Holmes. Everything else really bucks the trend. Yeah,
like this one in particular is one that shows up in D&D subreddits quite often.
So you claim. Like, is he a warlock or some shit?
Yeah, I think he's like when they describe Arcane Trickster, the player's handbook doesn't say Harry Dresden, but they describe someone who might attack cases like Harry Dresden does, in that he's mostly a mundane guy, but he has a bit of wizardry. Like, enough wizardry that he's completely magical compared to a mundane person, but not compared to Gandalf.
That's fair, but also Gandalf is... It's so
okay,
weird.
Gandalf's a poor choice.
Not
compared to Elminster.
I wasn't even criticising you. I'm just saying Gandalf's weird in that, like, he's the poster boy for wizard, but he goes around fighting with a sword, so you know.
Yeah, he fights with a sword. He kills the Balrog with a sword.
Okay, super magically enhanced, though.
Oh, yeah, like a lightning bolt hits it at the moment that he does. But yeah, that's it. Even that's just, like, movie magic.
True. But yes, Rick, today I've done something very fun when it comes to the recap. Do you want to guess what that is?
What have you done? The recap. You've looked it up on Wikipedia.
No, what I've done is I've done fuck all because I don't care about Dresden Files. I'm just relying on your knowledge for the recap.
Okie dokie. The original novels started coming out in the year 2000, and...
That is way more recent than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, so this series came out 2007, which is about the time the graphic novel / comics started coming out as well.
Okay.
So we might get a little bit of comic art in here. I think when I pressed play to make sure it worked, it looked like there was some kind of comic art as like a little cameo thing.
Oh, potentially.
And it's still going today. I think he's on like 17 books now.
Jesus Christ. Okay, you're just surprising me. Because, first of all, early 2000s, way later than I thought. It's still going, fuck off!
Yeah, as of January 2024.
Damn.
Let's see, publication history.
Oh, that's why you
17.
mentioned Wikipedia. Rick's on Wikipedia right now.
Yes, I am on the Wikipedia. The last one came out in 2020.
Well, that doesn't mean it's still going then, necessarily.
Well, I mean, he's not officially stopped.
Okay, sure. But 4 years between books. Well, there you go. I can't talk. I read Game of Thrones.
His plan is to draw to the beginning of the end at 22 in the case files, and the finale is going to be an additional big apocalyptic trilogy for a total of 25.
That's an ambitious idea, and if you know anything about writers, which Rick and I have both dabbled because we've both done D&D,
yes,
you never stop where you think you're going to stop.
No. But if you've got plans, then the plans give you a decent framework.
I don't know about you, Rick, but I as a writer, I kind of suck in that I make these plans. Like, I bullet point out plans when I'm writing. Granted, I've not written in fucking ages because all my D&D stuff is out of books now. When I did, it was like bullet point, expand. Oh, but wouldn't this be cool? And wouldn't this be cool? And also, because I'm writing a D&D story and it gets fucked by the players every single time, I have to be willing to just ignore half my shit.
Yeah, or like kick it down the road, recycle it, bump the levels up by a little bit.
I got really salty during that Warhammer game, I still remember.
I even linked to the green text this week when I was asked on a question of the day of a memorable moment in a tabletop RPG.
Well, the most annoying part to me as the DM in that moment was I could have just skipped to the second phase, but instead I was like, "No, you killed the thing. Bye." Yep.
Oh no, it did get to the second phase. You skipped the first phase with a crit, and then you crit the second phase as well.
No, you guys didn't see the second phase because the big reveal was going to be it was actually a corn demon.
Oh, okay.
It was a corn demon pretending to be a Zinch demon, which I thought would have been a hell of a reveal because why would a corn demon do that?
Yeah. A renegade corn demon, that'd be pretty cool.
He wanted to be smarter than he was.
Yeah, and probably leveraging the fact that all demons are made of magic, which makes it a bit fucking stupid that corn hates magic.
Yeah, but it's made of blood magic, so it skirts the rules.
Yeah.
Anything else on the Dresden Files?
No, I think we're ready to move on to our weeks.
Alrighty, so those of you familiar with the show probably already know this, but for those of you who are new, before we dive into the review and the react, as it were, we like to talk about our weeks and the goings-on in the Wide Ride universe. So with that in mind, Rick, you kind of already led the previous segment, but lead the next segment too.
The next segment, yes. I was gearing up towards a grand finale of one of the D&D games that I am a player in last night at the time of recording, and I am completely caffeinated, and I've been awake all night for a session that got postponed until next week. So.
Oh, it didn't happen at all. I thought you just the way you described it, I thought you had the session and it just didn't get far enough.
No, we got basically up till the final boss fog. Have a sit down, tie up all your wounds. You're not getting a long rest, but you're getting everything but and ready to go into the actual finale. And apparently it was said that we weren't playing this week, and I missed that memo. So it got to like 5 minutes before we started, and one of the other guys just very kindly dropped into the chat and said, "We're not playing this week." I'm like, oh, okay. And as a result, I ended up catching up on finishing and starting season 2 of Solo Leveling, the show that I mentioned last week.
Oh yes, the thing set in Korea.
Yeah, the one set in South Korea. Yeah, it's it gets more actiony, and it goes straight from season 1 into season 2 if you watch it that way, which I did. And it's up to about, I think, episode 4 in season 2 at the moment. So now I'm on the weekly gang.
Oh, fair do.
As for things in the wide world, the Pennsylvania Museum of Floods.
Oh yeah,
flooded.
This is that fucking old school joke of the fortune teller psychic fair has been cancelled due to unforeseen circumstances.
Yep. Apparently it's like the 4th time it's happened as well. But yeah, it's currently temporarily closed due to flooding, which I think is just really funny.
I mean, if it's a museum to flooding, then surely they're next to something that's near, that's capable of flooding to show off the fact that, so this is why this shit gets flooded, because of this, and this.
Yeah, like, I'm looking at the outside, and the front of it just looks like a normal road. So there would have to be a shit ton of rain for it to get flooded. But I'm not seeing the backside. It might just like back onto a canal or something.
I mean, that would be my guess.
Yeah. Like we've got a canal down by us, and every time it floods, the local pub just like puts another notch somewhere on the wall as to where the water got to this time.
I do remember seeing not too long ago during the not even the most recent storms, the storms in December. There was a chap, and he was so northern it hurt. He was walking his dog down the canal, and he just went, "Oh fuck!" And there was a massive hole where the canal was.
Oh,
where a fucking sinkhole had just appeared. But it wasn't.
Shit!
It wasn't a sinkhole. It was like the fucking. I forget the exact words, but like the thing they set up specifically to stop the canal from flooding just collapsed into itself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and it was like apparently this happens quite regularly, and they've gotten so good at fixing it. It takes like a week and nothing else, and then it's like nothing happened. But it looked like a fucking war zone. Anyway, that was a fun tangent, wasn't it?
And the last one is I have lost 2 pounds this week.
Good for you. Did you shit it out?
Yeah.
Or what happened?
No, on the stock market.
Oh, fuck.
Because of DeepSeek, the Chinese new competitor to ChatGPT, which apparently doesn't use GPUs, but, it might just use them and, not. They just don't admit to it, because that's basically the kind of thing that I would do if I was releasing a competitor product to do a rug pull like this.
The only problem with that theory, Rick, is that it's open source, so if it's doing that, you'll be easily able to find out if it is.
Yeah, and people have found out very quickly that they have stolen data from OpenAI, who stole data from everyone else.
Well, it's one of those as well where that hasn't actually been proven in any way. That's just OpenAI saying, "Hey, they stole from us."
Yeah,
it's like, but they haven't provided any receipts, because then they'd also have to provide their fucking receipts. There's a meme I saw literally this morning of OpenAI yelling at what's this called, DeepSeek, saying, "Hey guys, they stole our shit. This isn't fair." And then it just cuts to every single artist, writer, and creator who's posted anything on the internet. Did they? Did they really?
Yeah. And OpenAI are like, "Oh, well, I didn't steal it. We just looked the other way while other people stole it on our behalf and uploaded it to our database."
Anyway, I also had DeepSeek on my list of things to talk about, mostly because it was like, it came out, and I don't really care for this AI shit. I don't think it's being used in a way that's ethical, because of the way it acquires all of its fucking data. If someone has their own AI that they use, and they feed it with just their works, and they use it to fuck their own shit up because they think artistically it's cool, that's fine. AI as a tool, I'm not against the idea of AI as a tool. I just think the way it's being used is so shit.
Yeah, it's being used as a tool for plagiarism rather than a tool for use.
However you slice it, it's just not good at the moment. That being said, the only reason why this is on my radar is because it's very funny how both basically every Western AI immediately shit the bed when this came out, because it's like, oh, by the way, it's free and you can just use it.
Yeah. But yeah, you also have to give over all your data to the CCP, and it's also censored in real time. Yep. So if you ask it about Tiananmen Square, it'll go, "Oh, I don't know."
It's a Chinese thing. People know what China's deal is. Everyone bitching about data. It's always the same. Oh, China's going to get your data, as if the other companies don't also take your data. It's just not China that's getting it.
Yeah, that was like the whole reason for the quote unquote TikTok ban, which has now been reversed. Is that that America wanted to be in charge of this juggernaut of data theft instead of China.
They should have just fucking. They shouldn't have made sure Vine didn't die.
Yeah, but Vine wasn't monetized. That's why it didn't do as well as TikTok has.
Fair enough then. Also on this DeepSeek train, a very weird story which I still don't know if it's fucking real or not because it's so dumb. Apparently Alibaba has released their own AI and said it's better, and I'm like, fucking what? I thought Alibaba was a knockoff site that you bought fucking fake anime figures off of.
Yeah, it's basically Wish.com but for tech. Yeah.
Apparently that's a thing, and they're competing with DeepSeek now, and I'm like, fucking what is this world we live in, Rick?
Yeah. I mean, Alibaba and AliExpress, like, you can get real things from them. So they will drop ship things to you from large Chinese manufacturers and clone manufacturers. So you can get stuff from them that is exactly what you ordered. I have a pair of earbuds that are from them that are like the actual real thing from the actual manufacturer. One of them is broken now, but that's a me problem. But the other thing is NVIDIA is the upshot of this. Is NVIDIA's stock dropped like a certain amount. It would have dropped a lot more if it weren't for the reveal of the new graphics cards this week. So that's why I've only dropped £2 and not like 20.
Right, sure. Didn't it immediately get found out that those new graphic cards aren't as good as the last ones?
They're not as much better than the last ones than you would expect for this amount of time to have passed, which is just drawing attention to the mandated enshittification of products for the consumer market, thanks to, being on the stock exchange.
Sure.
Like, the top one is the top, and it is the best in the world right now, but it's $2,000 at RRP, which means it's going to be like $2,500 minimum before you get your hands on one.
Yeah, this is why I don't fucking like PCs.
And I don't think it's 2.5 times as powerful as the one that I got.
Oh, no, it never works that way.
No. Diminishing returns is a big thing.
Well, like, I work in a supermarket, Rick, and you don't even have to work in a supermarket to know this, but hey, when there's a financial issue and taxes go up and the price of everything goes up, so transport fees go up, etc., all the prices in the supermarket rise, just naturally. Everyone can see this, it's not a secret. Funny thing is, though, is when all that stuff goes back to normal, the prices still stay the new inflated price, because fuck you're used to it now.
Yep, it's the big one for that is energy. When there's an energy crisis and things go up in price, everybody has to everyone has to front the bill for it. And then when the prices come down, you're used to paying it now. So get fucked, idiots. Apparently.
Yeah, we need more Luigis.
Yep, we need more Luigis. We're the only ones we're not the only ones in the world. We've got the third highest energy prices in the world, and it's because energy is like charged at the price of the most expensive way to produce it. So if you can produce energy cheaper as a company, then you're making the difference in profit.
So yeah, we also have the other problem of the fact that we sold off, I can't remember which Prime Minister it was either Gordon Brown or David Cameron. We sold off all of our fucking stake in the fucking North Atlantic fucking gas field or whatever the fuck it's called. So at the moment, basically ever since then, we've bought a bunch of our energy from Norway, who owns all of that now because we sold it.
Yep, and we're also burying all of our plutonium apparently now.
And we're...
Yeah, so we shut down Sellafield quite a while ago, and it still has multiple armed guards, costing however much a year just to, keep people from getting in. They've decided now, instead of using the plutonium as fuel for whatever, or running the nuclear power plant for, energy, they're just going to destroy all of the plutonium by encasing it in ceramic and burying it underground.
It's not even... that is one of the few problems of anything that provides the source for nuclear energy, is the most efficient way to actually get rid of it is to burn it for fuel.
Yeah, is to use it. I don't think we can currently... when they started storing plutonium, it was because they didn't know exactly how to use it properly, although they did know that it was going to be possible in the future. And I think they've got to the point where they don't want to put any research into, actually getting it working properly. Whereas, we know plutonium works. It's just apparently it's a step beyond the greatest minds of Britain.
If only there was some kind of like, every day that we get news about anything, whether it be energy, whether it be America and their straight up construction of concentration camps.
It's not construction. They're just converting Guantanamo Bay from the concentration camp for terrorists into the concentration camp for immigrants.
Did you see the fucking story of the Greyhound bus guy?
I didn't know.
Oh, it's great. There was a guy driving a Greyhound bus, and the bus got stopped by ICE, which is the department in America that's like, we're here to check for illegal immigrants, etc. And they were like, we need to come on your bus and make sure everyone's legal. And the Greyhound bus driver just went, suck my balls, and then drove off.
Oh man! Actually, a little segue from that. Speaking of ice, there's a Las Vegas ice cream truck that keeps getting mistaken for an ice vehicle.
That's dumb.
But if you look at it, yeah, it kind of looks a bit like one. It's done up in the livery to look a bit like a police van, and it's Las Vegas Ice Cream Patrol.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense, but still, time for a rebranding, methinks.
Yeah, and he's had to come out saying, I'm just an ice cream man, and that's it.
That's exactly what an ice agent would say.
It looks like Flowers by Irene in The Simpsons.
Jesus.
You know, when they did the FBI van outside the house.
I get you.
Yeah. But yeah, that's enough of me and my segues and what I've seen. How about you? Where have you been? What have you seen?
Yeah, I've done precisely fuck all this week, so you ready for some news?
Yeah, let's go.
Alrighty, cool. I've just got a disclaimer here. I don't watch Asmongold's content. I don't really care about the guy. However, I am active on Reddit, which means a lot of his shit just appears on my dashboard, especially when I'm scrolling popular for news stories like today.
Yeah.
So Asmongold... he's always been a bit of a dumb fuck and a complete fucking dickhead. But the most recent stunt that he's pulled is claiming on stream that him and like 2 other streamers should dress up like Ash Ketchum and other Pokemon trainers and follow ice vehicles around and record illegal immigrants being deported. Doesn't that sound like a nice, happy thing to say?
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic idea that's not going to, you know, drive wedges between any communities that do or do not exist.
I want to point out it's been pretty clear that Asmongold leans to the right for a while now, because if you're going to be a fucking shill in order to make money, leaning right wing is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, he's he kind of shut up about it after the January the 6th attacks a few years ago, and just went quiet. But now that he's been emboldened again, he's not gonna fucking shut up.
Yeah, it's not great. That's kind of the problem with any popular YouTuber, is he's not even a YouTuber, is he? He's a Twitch guy.
He's both.
Oh, he's both. Okay.
He's predominantly YouTube for himself. And he's predominantly Twitch for himself, and the YouTube side is him curating his own clips.
Yeah, and that's its own kettle of fish, because you can get clips from the exact same stream where one says a left-leaning thing, and one thing says, "Man, wokeism sucks. Fuck the gays."
Yeah, he's very he's very happy to be on record saying, "Man, fuck DEI, fuck Sweet Baby Inc. and all that." Like Sweet Baby in particular, yeah, I don't know if they deserve to, you know, be a company, but like DEI is literally diversity, equality, and inclusion. Like, how can you argue against that in all good conscience?
It's one of those interesting things, because we brought it up on the podcast before, when that bridge went to shit in the States. It got ran into by a boat, where DEI is such a weird thing to argue against, because the only point of it is, if you have, let's say you have 50 people applying for 30 jobs, right? All of these 50 people are exactly the same amount of qualifications. All it says is, all the practice is that those 30 slots are filled equally by people who are black, white, Asian, Jewish, Muslim, gay, straight, bi. Women, yeah, sure. The way I said that then so dismissively was like, yeah, I guess women can work.
Yeah, but like, oh man, yeah. So it shouldn't matter where you are on the rainbow. It shouldn't matter where you are on the Dulux chart. Like, if you are the best for the role, then you should be in competition for the role.
And not even best for the role. Like, whenever I think of it, I always think about my situation. I work in a supermarket on the bottom of the bottom. You do not need qualifications for this, which means your work staff should be rather diverse if you can help it. I don't have a single black co-worker at work, Rick.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell a lie. The security guard is black, but I don't count him as a co-worker because he's the security guard. It's a different system.
Yeah, I think they're technically like contractors, aren't they? They're like working for a different firm, aren't they?
I believe so as well. So much so that sometimes he bitches to me about the fact that Tesco doesn't have the same fucking tech as we do.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, Asmongold, for shame. But the worst thing about it is, I know for a fact the bulk of his audience is under the age of 20.
Yeah, like, the other part of it is, I think a lot of his audience are just wanting to get close to other people that he interacts with, and perhaps become someone that he interacts with eventually, just, you know, to ride on coattails.
It's the whole parasocial thing again.
Yeah, and his fucking eyebrows.
I think the only reason why I've never had a parasocial relationship with some sort of YouTuber or streamer is I just hate streaming as a fucking content. As content, I can't watch streaming. 90% of it is the streamer saying, yeah, thanks for sending me 50 bits or whatever the fuck, and it's like, this is very not entertaining.
Yeah, man, the stupidest thing, the actual best time I've had with streamers has been in their private Discords, just doing let's watch watch-alongs where everybody apart from like the mod team are muted, which is fine and great and actually, required to keep any amount of order. But
well, I was going to say, like, by the sounds of things, if you're following like a famous or popular streamer and you're doing a watch-along, there could be like fucking hundreds of people doing the watch-along. You can't have everyone unmuted because everyone will be trying to talk and it's dumb.
Yeah, totally.
Jesus Christ, when we play D&D, we've only got 6 people, not including myself, and it's like, even then, I sometimes have to speak over people and say, one at a time, please.
Yeah, and it's normally my fault.
Dude, it's no one's fault. Like, lag exists and it's fine.
Yeah.
And go on, sorry.
Yeah, the other problem is that I was raised in a house with one person who was raised in a house with more people and is very much trained to shout over people as soon as you've got something in your head. So that's how I was trained to behave. And I've done my best to unlearn it, and it's taken a long time, and I've still not managed it.
I mean, is there no better example than we're doing this podcast right now over Discord, and we both tried to talk at the same time?
Yeah, literally just now.
So it happens, and it's no one's fault. It's just the nature of when you can't see someone. When you're talking to someone, it's very obvious when they're about to start talking or are currently talking,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I digress. Fuck Asmongold. The rest of my news is relatively cheerful until we get to the wrestling, so let's get through it. Rick, there's a Scottish company called Orbex.
Oh?
They're aiming to be the first to launch a rocket into space off British soil this year after getting a boost of £20 million.
Nice.
They're also
good luck to them.
Exactly. They're also racing with Norway, funny enough, to be the first people to launch a rocket from Western Europe.
Yeah, all right.
So, fun fact, Britain has actually launched a rocket successfully, just not on British shore. We launched it from Australia.
Yeah, fair enough.
Good story. Hopefully, later on in the year, it's like, hey, fuck everybody else, we did it first. And we're allowed to say that. Scotland is still part of Britain.
Yeah, for now.
We got a trailer drop for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection.
Oh, so what is this? Is this the card set, or is it a movie, or what?
It's a video game.
All right, okay.
It's basically all of the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games in one collection. It's going to be on Steam, and I believe they mentioned specifically the Switch as well. It looks like a pretty good thing. It is just ports by the looks of things. It doesn't look like they've actually touched anything up, but that's fine. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It stops. It very firmly stops before anything on the DS, but
sure.
Me and a mutual friend of mine, we were both discussing it, and I'm like, man, this collection looks good. If it's £30 or less, I'll hop on that day one. I've got, unfortunately, our mutual friend looked up the price, and apparently it's listed on an American website, Japanese website, as being £50, and I'm like, ooh, that's expensive for this.
Well, it also depends. Like, it could end up being £40, or it could end up being £60.
Oh, I tell a lie. I believe the price was equivalent to 50 on the Japanese site. I believe it was Game that had it for 50 for a physical copy on their website.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's which sucks, because what I want is for this game to do well so that they release another one with the PS2 games.
Yeah, sweet.
But I don't think this collection's going to sell well if it's a full price game.
Yeah, full price game for like Game Boy Advance, like quality of gameplay. Like, yeah, the Game Boy Advance was great for its time. Like revolutionarily good quality compared to other Game Boys that came before it. But no one's going to be paying like full price even for a collection of things of that level at this point.
But exactly, it's one of those where there's at least 16 games on this fucking thing. Like, they're not half-arsing on the amount of games. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! 9 out of 10 of them are the same game.
Yeah. They are and all.
They did highlight at the end of the trailer the 5 games that are really weird out there games, including the original Capsule Coliseum, which I didn't know the PS2 game wasn't the only version of Capsule Coliseum, but apparently that came after this original one that was on the Game Boy. There's also one where you walk around with a dual monster following you, like Pikachu in Pokemon Yellow, and that looks bizarre as fuck.
Sweet.
And it also includes Dungeon Dice Monsters.
Oh, okay. Like an actual version of the actual Dungeon Dice Monsters from what is it? Not Rex. Duke Devlin.
Pretty much. They've had video games of Dungeon Dice Monsters for ages because you can't actually make that into a board game because it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they've almost done it with the D&D D20s that like fold out into creatures.
Yeah, but the problem is you have to make paths.
Yeah.
It doesn't work except for in the context of a cartoon or a video game where you can randomize things and be like boo 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 boo.
Yeah, it has to be one or the other, yeah.
Yeah, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe someone out there could do it. I know fucking they're not doing it, Konami. Is it Konami? I forget who does Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think it is Konami, yeah.
But yeah, the collection itself does look good. I'm just really worried that price tag's gonna fuck it.
Yeah.
The only way you can get more of a thing, guys, is if the thing sells well.
Yeah, and that's the problem okay, they're not half-arsing it, however, they are picking the easiest one to do.
Yeah, if they did, the problem is, right, if they did a more recent version of the game, like, for example, I want the PS2 games and the PS1 game of Forbidden Memories. That would be awesome. Yeah. However, if they did those, they would have to update the graphics. You don't need to update the graphics for Game Boy Advance and earlier games because they're these pixel art style, and it hasn't really aged, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like you can remake the game just by putting the original concept art in full HD.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, again, the Game Boy aesthetic is incredibly charming, and that certainly works in its favour. And yeah, super correct. It's very much the easiest road they could have taken when it comes to releasing a game collection. But like, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! None of their games are particularly advanced. They never made a fighting game. That would have been insane.
Yeah, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! Muso when you're frickin' Blue Eyes White Dragon and Summon Skull and all that.
Rick, you're making a joke, but I'd fucking play that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, you got your different factions being the different monster types. Like, you got your entire Pegasus level where you're going through his shitty island and it's all full of his frickin' stupid toy monsters. It'd be great to kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, Mangu Ryan Rand needs a kick in the balls. Dude, that was the weirdest translation ever on a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card because it's Toon Ryu-Ran, but for some reason that one gets called manga.
Yeah.
So weird. So fucking weird. Anyway, right, Rick, this isn't a wrestling podcast.
Let's go.
A wrestler I really like called Asuka has gone to Twitter literally in the last couple of days, and her tweets have made me really sad because female wrestlers still get treated like dirt, I guess. She's publicly tweeted that, and I can't believe these words are coming out of my fucking lips. I am not romantically interested in fans. Anyone who comes up to me asking me questions in this vein, I am refusing. Leave me alone in this regard. And then a follow-up tweet said, I have contacted police, I do not feel safe. And I'm like, it's 2025, can wrestling fans stop being fucking creeps, please?
Just people stop being creeps.
Well, yeah, but wrestling fans, it's always been a fucking problem. It's always been a problem. As someone who, I adore these entertainers, I don't want them to feel unsafe because they're keeping us entertained. Because that's what it is. Another problem is wrestling is geared towards, like, teenagers, and they're fucking idiots.
The risk of sounding uncouth. It's teenagers and adults with the capacity of teenagers.
I mean, I don't like admitting it because, again, I'm a wrestling fan myself in my 30s, but a lot of wrestling fans are just immature.
Yeah.
I mean, I've told you before, Rick, I enjoy wrestling, but when I enjoy wrestling, I turn my brain off while I'm watching wrestling.
Totally.
I let myself be fooled by the stories and the tricks that are being used.
Yeah, funny German suplex time.
I fucking love the German suplex. It's such a good suplex. I prefer the Fisherman's, though. Don't know why.
Sure.
I think it's because no fucker does it anymore. Or the fucking... You got the Northern Lights suplex as well. There's so many suplexes with silly names. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, stop being creeps, please, to the women of wrestling. I feel like we've evolved beyond this, but apparently not. And it hits double hard as well because Asuka is hands down my favourite women's wrestler. So it fucking sucks to find out that she's been the subject of effectively harassment.
Yeah, to the point that even I've heard of her and think that she's pretty cool.
Oh, she's awesome. She really is.
Yeah.
And like, there was a period of time where she was like basically the liaison between incoming Japanese female stars and being like, okay, this is what we do here, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, that sucks. And by the way, Asuka, not even the only person who's been affected by this. She's just the most recent person to say, I'm not in love with fans. Stop trying. You can already picture what weird fucking incident must have occurred, right?
Yeah, like, just the fact that you can, it's all I'm thinking, and and this is making light of the situation because you have to laugh or you cry, is just, I was watching a video a long time ago, and the guy was just holding up a Megatron toy, and he just went, "Starscream, stop being crap." And that's how I'm feeling towards the fans right now.
Oh, yeah. Can we just go back to calling Roman a wank pheasant?
Yeah.
Alright, Rick, for the sake of those watching along and listening along at home, what are we doing?
We are doing the Dresden Files, the one released in 2007. We found it legally on Plex, so you can too. And if you'd like to join along with us at home, it's 3, 2, 1, and go.
Yeah, so Plex is a really cool website because you can type in a show and it will tell you what streaming service carries it. If no streaming service carries it, it just offers it to you for free because, media preservation. Oh, Santa Claus is going to come in and diddle you. I don't know.
Be his dad.
Or a magical being of hell. I don't know about you, Rick, but as far as set dressing is concerned, I miss the old blocky TVs as just background elements.
Yeah, where you get to see the progressive scan on the TV.
Yeah. There's no such thing as wind in the Dresden world.
Yeah, got something for you, a brick.
Don't forget, guys, it's totally okay to throw bricks at transphobes.
Yeah.
Disclaimer.
Have you punched a Nazi today?
Disclaimer, don't actually throw bricks at transphobes unless you know you can get away with it.
Yeah, unless you know they're not armed.
Well, I'm all meant, legally. I'm saying it's okay to throw bricks at transphobes, but... given the state of the world...
It's not so much okay, it's only justified.
Oh, yeah. I think it's okay to throw bricks at people who think you shouldn't be alive. I think that's a fair trade-off, right?
Yeah.
And I'll smash his face in! I wasn't far off, was I?
Actually. So there we are. His not so much his start of darkness, his start of determination.
Yeah. So the question becomes, is this a regular relationship, or does he just fucking fuck?
Could be both.
Well, no, it can't be both, because if it's a regular relationship, then, he has a partner. If he fucks, that means he's fucking a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was both, then he'd be a dirtbag.
Okay, well, he's dropping by the diner later, so,
Is that Ron Perlman? No, it's not.
Don't think so. No, it's not. No.
From far away, it looked like it was, but close up, it definitely isn't.
Mm-hmm. Got jiggy with it with a lady and just dreamt about my dad.
But it's magic bullshit, so... I'm sure this won't be abused.
Totally. Yeah, so I guess the implication being that the uncle was the one that killed the mum.
Possibly.
From what we've got told now.
Yeah, I was questioning whether or not this was a supernatural being or just a wizard, so guess that confirms that.
Combination of both.
Man, when was the last time you saw an honest-to-goodness clamp on a car?
Last year.
Oh, okay. No, he said mobsters. That's a lot of money.
It is. I've already nicked it.
Ravens are never ominous.
Yeah, the crow's spying for someone else.
This is the most generic-ass fucking music for a show ever. Jesus Christ. Totally.
Generic music, except he also does some freaky wizard things with his hand.
This wouldn't be weird to anyone, is it? It's like there's a grown-ass man in almost a trench coat just talking to a random child.
I think the fact that he's doing it in the open makes it legitimate.
It's still weird, and I think that comes from the 2025 mindset rather than the 2007 one.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2007. We knew about pedophiles back then as well.
It didn't feel as prevalent, my dude.
Like, they did that frickin' Tamagotchi episode of that of that comedy thing.
That doesn't help me at all.
Could be the eyes of a paedophile.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Like, what's it from?
It got cancelled because it was like a sketch show, and it got cancelled because of the paedophile episode. Because people didn't like hearing about paedophiles.
Well, it's one of those where it's not something to be made light of, I guess. This fucking Scully-looking motherfucker.
Yeah. It appears that people just don't believe him.
Maybe so. Jesus Christ, that was more graphic than I was expecting.
Yeah. Ugh, grim.
No, that's a show we decided not to do.
It wasn't all. It's the one that looked good as well up on the
on the
poster, wasn't it?
I literally told you I put the Grimm poster on there, even though we'd already decided to do cooler. Dresden at that point because it looked cooler. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got very white hair.
He does. Like, he looks prematurely white.
Well, he's meant to be a ghost or a spirit or some kind, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Inconceivable! I absolutely love the motives of, listen, I'm telling you to do this thing because if something happens, and it might, you're going to be a pain in the ass to live with for months after.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can fully agree with that motivation.
Sick of it.
Yeah. It's not do the right thing. It's insurance against you being a knobhead.
Yeah. Dude, that food looks delicious.
It does.
Man, just bringing up food, I'm still remembering you saying you lost 2 pounds earlier, and my reaction was, were you sick? Did you have the shits?
No, money. It's also not real money because I'm still like 40% up on it.
Sure. God, look how fucking generous they are with their pushing the chicken.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, one of the standard things in America is often to, like, overserve so that you can take leftovers and have enough for dinner tomorrow.
I mean, I guess. I just don't see the point in that in a restaurant. And, and that might come with being British, where it's like you go out and you eat a fucking dinner's worth of food. You don't fucking have 700 piles of leftovers.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those where they become known for, like, good portions.
Makes sense. And you got a mutual friend of ours who will buy 2 dinners, so we can have another dinner later.
Yep.
Mr. Crowley.
That might be Harry's crow.
Well, it's unclear because the only other time it's shown up is with both Harry and this kid present, so...
Yeah. So it could be the one that's after the kid, or it could be Harry's crow.
But Harry has not acknowledged the crow at all, so... Also looks more like a raven.
Well, it's a matter of opinion. Which is one of my favourite jokes that works way better when it's written down.
Oh? Sorry?
Because pinion is the
Fuck
technical
that.
term for the finger feathers. And literally, the difference between a crow and a raven is that one of them's got one more finger feather.
Oh, okay. It's weird because I don't know if they do it in other Final Fantasy games, but I remember in Final Fantasy IX they had the distinction between Phoenix Downs and Phoenix Pinions, because Pinions could be used as a revive item, but it was also an accessory.
Yeah. So you could equip it, but yeah, I think it also got you to full health, didn't it?
I couldn't tell you because I never used them as consumables, because the Summon Phoenix did way more damage and revive if you had more of them.
Yeah.
That's how Eidolons scale in that game, by the way, for those listening in FF9. If you have 99 Aquamarines, Leviathan's going to be strong as shit. Yep. Otherwise, you just use water. Water!
Which I think only Queen of Quen has, doesn't he?
Yeah, Vivi doesn't get it. No,
like
Vivi.
Water and...
No, Vivi gets it. Quina gets Sacral
Vivi gets
Breath.
water. Oh, okay.
But water's kind of shit. It's shit and it's not. It's just it gets outscaled immediately by Comet and Meteor.
Yeah. And there's like very few things that are just weak to it, or weak enough to be worth not using Meteor.
Mm-hmm. Well, Meteor's got a chance of just not doing anything.
Yeah.
How much fun are you having watching Dresden Files, Devon? So much fun that I'm talking about Final Fantasy IX. The problem is,
They've been very light on the magic so far.
He is no Constantine.
He's not.
Oh, we could have done Constantine for this month, Rick.
I mean, we could always sub it out for something.
No, because the other stuff's cool. This is the only one that I had no real say. Well, I could have just said no, I don't want to do it, but it's like The concept does not grab me because I know Constantine does it better.
Hmm.
Well, it's a good idea, isn't it?
It is, actually, to be honest. Until you get a scar that disrupts it.
Wow.
Already accepting it when he's saying no.
Yeah, and one of the worst things is now that teacher is definitely going to think it was a booty call. Because why else would you pay for the cab?
Hmm. A gigolo.
Oh, I fucking was thinking it was going to be the teacher too!
Yeah. Fucking Dresden. Ugh.
It's always more endearing when your character is free with their money when they have it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be weird to come across that as a cut, wouldn't it? Oh, you think she's wearing the skin of the teacher?
Yeah.
Dickhead.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you can't really be too mad at it, can you? When you're good at doing something, don't do it for free.
Oh, yeah, certainly. I'm starting to think more and more that the crow has nothing to do with Dresden and more to do with the malevolent presence.
Yeah.
I must admit, this show did not interest me in the least, but I am getting more interested as time goes on.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, it had a very slow start, and that's kind of, I think that's pretty much, I'm already calling it that that's going to be my weakest link. The first, 5 minutes, nothing really happened.
Mm. Yep, it took her face.
Yep.
Well, I thought a skinwalker was basically a werewolf. Or was that a skin changer? Fuck it, I don't know.
Skinwalker is often someone who can... Basically, any doppelgangers are kinds of skinwalkers. But not all skinwalkers are doppelgangers.
Okay. What the fuck? I'm very confused as to what's going on. So is there two creatures after them?
The Crowman might actually be protecting them.
Maybe. Doesn't look it to me, Rick.
Yeah. Well, the Crowman was able to get in despite the...
It wasn't hung up.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, that was
yeah,
the whole...
it got burnt into the ceiling, didn't it? So, could have been expended.
These transitions where there are ad breaks, this feels like it was made for American television, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. It showed on, I think, the American Sci-Fi Network.
Okay. Man, magic rings are really impressive until you fucking... It's one of the first things that you get taught what the trick is. And it's like, man, they're kind of lame.
Yeah.
My mind would be fucking blown.
Yep. It's one of these, I kind of hate performance magicians. Because it feels like they're getting more out of being smug than anyone else is getting out of watching it.
Yeah, I get you, man, I get you. Like, street magicians, there's a certain... I'm just gonna sound dumb. Magic to it.
Yeah.
I remember I had a street magician once come up to me, and he was like, after his trick, he was like, "Have you got any spare cash?" And I was like, "Nah." He went, "Did you get here via travel card?" And I went, "Yeah." I said, "Are you done with the travel card?" And I went, "Yeah." He went, "Can I have your travel card?" And I went, "Yeah."
That was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. I don't know where he wanted to go, but who gives a fuck? Like, I don't need the ticket no more, and it's still good for another 5 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't really impressed with his... That's the thing about street magicians. They always do really shit tricks until the last one.
Yeah, the last one is the most impressive. Often, if they're just using a member of the public, which, if it's an adult, yeah, probably a plant. If it's a kid, nah, you can't train a kid.
Yeah.
Never work with animals or children.
At one point, I worked with animals, and my brother worked with children, so we were just fucked.
Yeah.
Like, she's meant to be a cop, surely, and she somewhat believes his magic voodoo bullshit, so shouldn't she be able to connect these dots herself?
Yeah, she should be able to.
Like, if she was completely, like, ignoring him and being like, your magic voodoo bullshit is bullshit, then yeah, I'd understand her needing the dots connected. But, like, she seems to trust him enough to actually bring him in for opinions on this shit. This must be the hardest part of the fucking job, right?
Yeah. Just having to ask, yeah, is your son a warlock?
Well, I remember the Simpsons episode where Homer eats Hans Moleman's last meal, and he just goes,
Yeah.
"He ate my last meal," and it just cuts to the Reverend Lovejoy going, "Well, if that's the worst thing that happens to you today."
Yeah. I don't know why Mole Man would end up being frickin' like executed though.
Are you sure you can execute people in a local jail? Like, it's all bullshit for a gag, you know?
Yeah.
He's being executed for the crime of being a mole man. Oh, we got D&D alignments. Fuck off.
Yeah. Well, like, actually, though.
I fucked up and I was wrong. Well, this is ominous, isn't it, Rick?
Yep. Yeah, she doesn't sound right at the moment.
Oh, cool. Now it's time for Harry to be really fucking pissed at this woman.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah, so she's coming in, breaking down his wards so others can come and fuck with him in his house.
Yep. I don't have a choice, I'm now going to kill you. Fuck off, bitch. Innit? Oh, and I shall weep a single tear, and I'm done.
Yep. Yep, for the lady who was peeled.
Getting real sick of those
Commercial
transitions.
break.
No one misses Florida.
No, I was going to say, the only time you miss Florida is if you're, like, a rich person who went there for a holiday.
Or if you like fighting gators.
Yeah.
He wants his fucking money.
So Uncle Justin's the warlock, I assume.
Maybe so.
Actually, no, we already know that because he was the owner of the ghost beforehand.
Right. Sorry, I got very distracted by the softcore BDSM going on.
Yeah. And now bound to a skull.
Well, we know for a fact that he must be quite fucking infamous if this random fucker knows who he is.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, a punch? Is that it?
So yeah, Raven's turning out to be the good guys.
Well, we still don't know that. It could just be two malevolent forces working against each other.
Yeah, true.
We know the kid's got some kind of gift. I don't know what the gift is, unless the gift is just what Dresden also has.
Yeah, just the ability to be a wizard. Oh.
I've got nothing to say. This is so boring compared to the scene it's being juxtaposed with. Doesn't really seem relevant, truth be told.
Yeah. She told Harry.
No, she didn't. They deduced that themselves, didn't they?
No, she told Harry when he was in the.
Okay, I think I'm
house.
clocking now, because if he
so yeah,
it wasn't necessarily legal or above board, which means chances are that Ravenfeller's an actual relative. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yes, we all know the Boltons.
Yeah, the foreskin.
These Americans who probably don't have that.
Yeah. You're lucky your pet ghost is such a soft touch.
I don't know, man. If I had any remote, if I cared about anyone even remotely, I wouldn't want to see their skin get ripped off.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's being controlled by something even bigger as well.
The plot thickens.
And the plot thickens a bit more.
Well, they could just follow her, can't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Or even a...
They did have to deduce
second
it
feather.
if they're asking where he got adopted and whatnot. The universal hand gesture of, yes, I know I'm lying, shut up.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes,
Chekhov's gun from earlier.
You fucking beat me to it. I was going to say the exact same thing, you bastard. He needs to join our coven, where we totally don't do weird things to children. I was going to make a more explicit joke, and then I went, oh, no, it made me feel dirty.
He needs to be with his own kind, cold-hearted Republicans.
They don't like wizards.
They might have done in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, the fucking people leading the fucking witch hunts and the war on drugs. Satanic Panic and all that shit, Rick.
Well, it's one of those. The Satanic Panic was like it was a fundamentalist thing, and it was only like around the time of Reagan that the Republicans adopted the fundamentalists.
When was Reagan, Rick?
Yeah, that was about the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's the period we're talking about.
Yeah, well.
He's got a punchable face, hasn't he?
Hmm.
Oh, there's a whole flock. Yeah, I guess to be honest with you, these guys do look preferable to the Skinwalker.
Yeah, they're giving them a banana split and everything.
They do look very vampiric, don't they? Would you like some whipped cream, boy?
Oh, that's adorable. My goth uncles.
You got to admit, though, it does look like some nefarious shit's going down, don't it?
It does. It's just a lot more wholesome when you realise it's his 10 goth uncles.
Okay, so this is a bit personal for Mr. Dresden, isn't it?
Yeah, because it happened to him.
The fuck's the High Council? You just introduced a new concept that is far too confusing. Well, that's a bit scummy.
He blinks sideways as well.
I didn't even notice. Oh yeah, he does.
Yep, there we go.
Wait, so hang on. The ghost dude was like, I've invented this new thing, the Doom Box. But they know what it is already.
Yeah, well, it was also in the book that the uncle had.
Oh, I suppose.
He was basic. I feel like the ghost guy was reinventing it from his memories rather than creating something that he had like records of.
Okay, that makes sense.
I like the little like modulation they've got on the crowmen.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
Because crows themselves, like sometimes they can emulate human speech, but it varies from crow to crow whether or not they bother learning it.
Yeah, their ability is much more limited compared to parrots, though. It's usually like a word or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes, like, they'll learn specific things and will only be able to swear, for instance.
Peanut.
Yeah, like, I think there was one, like, there was a crow in, that was haunting an American high school. Oh, not high school, elementary school. And all it would say is, like, eat shit and get fucked! Every time someone tried to catch it.
Oh, okay.
And the kids thought it was fantastic. The trouble with corvids is that they're smart, and if you try to catch it once and fail, it will remember. It will remember who did it, and it will remember how they tried to catch it.
It's an interesting trade to try and make. Yeah, I was going to say, it's quite clearly a trap. Yeah, I too have seen that one scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't know about you, Rick, but it certainly looks like his uncle isn't actually dead and is the secret bad guy of the whole series.
Yeah, so it would seem, yeah. That little speech there would have made a much better opening blurb, you know?
Maybe, but they got to set the character up more for conventional television. Bear in mind, this was back in the day before streaming.
Yeah.
Don't know about you, Rick, but the fucking way the shadows on her hair worked for a second there made her cheekbones look very skinny and weird. But it wasn't actually a cheekbone, it was just a shadow of her hair.
Stupidly enough, this place reminds me of Kate Bishop's flat.
Sure.
In Hawkeye.
It's been a minute, dude.
Because it had like the staircase in the middle of the room.
I think that's just like New York, innit? Like, they just have apartments like that because they're weird.
Yeah, it might be, yeah. Like 2-floor apartments once you're inside it, yeah.
Look, he's going to go through raven puberty, there's going to be some feathers, and he's going to start blinking sideways, but don't worry about it.
Yep.
He's going to get feathers in places where he didn't have feathers before.
He's going to go through a My Chemical Romance phase.
He's going to get a cloaca, that's going to be the weirdest part.
Yeah. Especially since he already has a knob.
We don't know that, and we don't need to know that. Look, I turned out okay and completely irrational adult.
Yeah, I mean, it's reassuring for her that a normal human can raise a wizard. Toss a peanut to your ravens.
They were some beautiful looking birds, though.
They were, yeah.
God, again, such generic ass fucking outro music. I know we can't talk, but
yeah, with our Disgaea knockoff music.
Yeah, but we've got the excuse of like budget zero.
Yeah, it's from Dover Syndrome. Like, our budget is literally the electricity that we expend to record these episodes.
Well, there was an initial buy-in fee of me upgrading my microphone.
Yeah, true.
And I think you technically spent like 20 quid on those Christmas pictures.
Yeah, I spent money on Christmas pictures, and I've spent money, keeping PCs working. But I would have done that whether or not I was streaming.
Oh yeah, you got a big dig bollocks fucking words PC for games and other things. You just happen to also use it for podcasting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first episode of the Dresden Files, all wrapped up in a neat little bow. What did you think?
I thought it was all right, but it took a lot of time time to get off the ground. Like there was very definitely a gear shift between when's this going to get good, and it started to get good.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I was very much like, I can't tell you the exact timestamp, but there's a moment where I said, you know what, I wasn't really into this, and all of a sudden I'm actually quite interested.
Yeah. And then even then, after that, it cooled off a little bit in a couple of places. But like when they're dealing with interesting stuff, it's interesting. It's like a grown-up Buffy, you know?
Well, I was just going to say, it literally had the Boba Fett problem of every time there's a flashback, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Why can't this just be one big flashback instead of 700 little ones?
Yeah, where's Poochie? But yeah, what do you think?
It was fine. It was better than I was expecting, which, one would hope, because going into this, like, I was just like, I don't care about the Dresden Files. It sounds like here's the weird thing, is it sounds like a bit of an oddly generic concept, but given the fact that it's from the early 2000s, it probably was a more original concept back then.
Yeah, like there probably wasn't as much of a call for like a combination of modern day and wizardry.
God, we need you to watch those Constantine cartoons.
Yeah. I think I watched the movie, but with Keanu Reeves.
No, the animated movies, man.
Yeah, the good ones.
Oh god, they're so good. Like, yeah, sure, people bitch about the voice actor's accent being weird, but like, it's a guy who's Scouse who's lived most of his life in London. His accent is going to be weird.
Yeah.
Like, and the beauty of it is the guy who voices him looks like Constantine as well, so they just used him when they wanted a live action Constantine in their fucking Arrowverse show.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was great. Excellent actor, top billing. Like, they had to write him out of the DC animated universe lately, not too long ago, because he would solve problems too easily. Yeah. Like, how Doctor Strange had to get nerfed for the MCU?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with Constantine, they're just like, nah, fuck that, we're going to write him out.
Yeah, they move a lot of Strange's powers to the Eye of Agamotto, and all of the Eye of Agamotto's powers to the Time Stone.
Yeah, it's, I get it, they need to do what they need to do, but like, Doctor Strange is bullshit OP, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dresden Files, decent enough. I think this opening episode in particular, it's a pretty good opening episode. Like, immediately the first case he has resonates with an issue he's had growing up himself.
Yeah, and it gave us both like 3 mysteries to basically suss out before they actually told you the answer.
Absolutely. And as well, it's okay, it's been done, but that's not a problem, because it's one of the better detective tropes of being when it's done well, I want to point out, people can do this poorly, where the episode's crime and mystery gets solved, but there's an overarching one that's happening in the background. The only annoying thing I'd say that detracts from it a little bit is the overarching one that's going on directly relates to this one that occurred.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I get you.
I like having like a separate mystery being done in the background while other mysteries are going on. They don't have to be interconnected. That's the beauty of having a detective who takes on multiple cases.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I'm pretty high on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sweet.
So let's get to our usual wind down, shall we? Do you have a standout favourite moment?
I guess it was more of a meta one, where like I said, we were spitballing answers to the questions posed by the episode, and the fact that I essentially got both of them right. I think the one that I liked the most was I sussed out that it was a skinwalker before it was revealed.
Yeah.
So that's my pick of the two.
Your pick of favourite moment is I am so smart. I am so smart.
But it was given to you. It was given to you. Like, if it's one of those where these, I'm going to say medium brow mysteries, because it's not highbrow, but it's a little bit above lowbrow, in that they will let you feel smart by figuring something out a little bit before it's obvious.
Well, any detective show should do this, and I'm told this is why the modern day remake of Sherlock falls apart. I'm not watching that show. I refuse. I really don't like Benedict Cumberbatch, and I don't think Sherlock Holmes works in that modern of a setting. Like, even fucking Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes was in a bullshit steampunk version of Victorian England. Anyway, I digress. Apparently the modern remake of Sherlock fails to a certain degree, because a lot of the things just get solved by Sherlock because he's magic.
Yeah, he just goes into bullet time, brain time, and works a bunch of shit out and goes, oh, this, therefore that, therefore that, therefore the other. Yeah, okay, I've figured it out during this fight that we're having right now.
I've also been told that sometimes clues are revealed off-screen to Sherlock and Sherlock alone, and he'll reveal them later on, but only he had that information.
Yeah, so you can't work it out yourself.
Yeah, so let's take, for example, an episode of, I don't know, we can't use Columbo because they just show you what happens. Let's take an episode of, like, Agatha Christie. You get all the same information that Agatha Christie gets.
Yeah.
You can, realistically, if you're paying attention and really invested, make the same deductions that Agatha Christie does, and you get to feel good about it, and that's the beauty of a mystery show.
Yeah. Especially when they've got more than one mystery concurrently going, like we had this time.
Yeah.
But yes, that's enough from mine. Do you have a standout favourite moment?
Because it was just so surreal and silly, and by that point we did work out that the Ravens are indeed good guys. The entire family of Ravens just sitting around watching the blonde kid eat banana split, and the one...
And offer him some whipped cream.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
It was a much needed bit of levity in an otherwise quite serious episode.
Yeah, feels you.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah, I liked it.
And it's quite real as well. It's like there's a shit situation happening in the family, but let's try and make the kid feel as normal as possible.
Yeah, and crows understand sweet things. They understand that sweet things are sweeter than things that are not sweet. Therefore, let's make the kid feel good by giving him something sweet.
Now, you are being bird racist, Rick, because they were confirmed to be ravens.
Okay, corvids.
I love the word corvid because my word processor doesn't recognise it.
What does it call it, COVID?
No, it's worse. It just has a red squiggly line, and I'm like, corvid is a word, and I hover over it, and it goes, did you mean blah, 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 blah? And I went, no, corvid is a word. Fuck you.
Yep.
I don't have to use the word corvid very often, but I writ it down.
But when you do,
I writ it down recently.
It makes you feel smarter than word.
I writ it down recently, and I got really fucking annoyed when my word processor was like, no, that's not a word. And I'm like, it is, fuck you!
Yeah.
Can't only talk about the good, though, we also have to talk about the bad. So with that in mind, do you have a weakest link for me, sir?
Yeah, about the first 15 minutes or so. I think it was about 17 minutes that we got the, this is now picking up. So the first 10 or 15 minutes, it really dragged, and it really had, slow start syndrome. Like, the only good thing from the first initial part was just seeing Ghost and his sky runes.
I get you, man. It's also quite a bold move, because, again, this was back during, the 2007, streaming wasn't really a thing. Streaming kicked in about, early 2010s, I want to say.
Yeah, so this is going to be, an hour-long slot, because we got 45 minutes of it. So it would have been 25% ad. So before the first ad break, it was not great. And the point of TV, essentially, is to get someone interested enough in the show that they will sit through the ads. And I see quite a few people turning off.
It kind of depends as well, because it depends on the time slot a lot. Because if on the other side all you've got is Countdown.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this got a prime time slot, at least not in the first season.
There's only one season.
Fuck! Okay, maybe it didn't do well then.
Yeah. And it was on a channel that, the Sci-Fi Channel sounds like it should be pretty high up there with nerds. However, it's not Channel 2 or ABC or whatever.
Well, back when I watched the Sci-Fi Channel, all it was reruns of fucking Stargate and Star Trek.
Yeah,
it was
that too. Yep.
Not a good show, not a good choice of shows, to be honest. If you like those shows, great, but I didn't.
But yeah, how about you? Do you have a weakest link?
It's going to be a real double-edged sword here with a big old asterisk next to it of, I think the flashbacks slowed the pace of the episode down too much, while the big caveat being, they did need the flashbacks, though, for things to make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you'd fix that problem, realistically.
Yeah, they needed some of the flashbacks, at least. They didn't have to have all of them in this episode.
Even that first one they didn't really need.
Yeah, because it kind of... they could have condensed some of them into, a little bit less performative, you know?
What did we learn from the first one? His mum is dead, and they're kind of on the run, and Harry believes in monsters. But we could have skipped that, because that exact same information is more or less repeated in his conversation with Ghostman.
Yeah, and with the uncle. After the uncle finds him.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And that uncle scene was just to establish that, there's some sort of distrust between the uncle. But we know that already, because the ghost told us that he killed his uncle.
Yep.
It's very odd. And even the scene Harry showing off his magic and being told, don't use magic. It's but we kind of know that already because he doesn't use magic except for the one seal. Yeah,
he's very sparse with his magic.
I don't know.
You know what I mean when I described as an arcane trickster. He doesn't use a lot of it because he's not super powerful. Elements that he ain't.
Yeah. No, I totally get you. It's weird, isn't it? Because magic's definitely an element of this show, but given this first episode at least, it's very magic light.
Yeah, totally.
Like, it seems the ability of human... Like, you can either cast magic or you can't. It's just, it seems Dresden is going to be the only person actively casting magic as far as humans is concerned.
At least on the good side.
Well, I assume the bad guys aren't wizards and they're mostly monsters, apart from the big bad that's clearly his uncle that seems to be still alive for some reason.
Yeah, despite having been killed. Maybe because he's been killed.
It's unclear, and I'm sure that... You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, seeing as this only got first one season, that plot point just never gets resolved.
Yeah, good old Netflix-itis.
Well, again, it wasn't really Netflix-itis back in the day. If you were fishing for a second season, you needed one plot hook, whereas Netflix just stops halfway through the fucking show.
Yeah, and then you get, if you're lucky, you get the second half of season 1.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway, weakest link is definitely the flashbacks. Talking through them again, even after the fact, is like, yeah, no, you could have had just none of them.
Yeah, totally. Shit.
Let's get down to brass tacks and declare our MVP winner of the show. We don't have a leaderboard for this, but we're fresh off non-stop reviews, so I had it in my mind ready. Rick, who's your MVP today?
Like, can you give it to anyone really other than Harry Dresden?
I do not think you can, because I also think Harry Dresden gets it. I gotta be honest with you, I wasn't impressed with the actor during the first opening scene, and then I quickly changed my fucking tune on that, so, this is what...
Yeah, because, he can manage the pulp detective-y part, and also the low-tech magic part.
The problem is those opening scenes were legitimately fucking boring.
Yeah, totally. So, double whammy for Harry Dresden.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I ain't got a bad thing to say about it, really. It's just, I think I guess we want to say the pacing was bad, seeing as it was like the first quarter of the episode was just... And that's a pretty important quarter of the episode, because it's going to determine whether someone turns off or not.
Yeah. It very definitely messes with your metrics when your metrics are who got to the ads, who watched the ads, who bought things from the ads.
Well, again, you're not going to have that last bit of information.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it's one of those where back in the day, streaming didn't exist, you couldn't pause live TV, etc, etc. If you got to quarter of the way through this, you're being like, this is shit, I'm going to turn it over to Channel 4, they're replaying an episode of The Simpsons from 1997.
Yeah.
And this wouldn't affect me, because I've always had this golden rule when watching a new show, and it's 3 episodes.
Yeah. But it's one of those, though, like, if the first episode doesn't grab you at all, then I don't blame anyone for just, like, losing interest with it.
I don't blame anyone either. That's a personal rule that I follow, because I know a lot of things, especially after doing this podcast, I've doubled down on that rule, because we watched the first episode of a lot of things, and a lot of things have got really shit first episodes, even though we know they're good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, I remember, what's that show? It's one of the isekais, it's one of the popular ones. The guy, when he dies, he goes back to a reset point.
Oh, ReZero.
ReZero, right. I said to a mutual friend of ours, yeah, I'll give ReZero a go. I'll give it the good old 3-episode rule. And my friend immediately said, oh no, you should give it 5 episodes. I'm like, that's not how the rule works.
Yeah.
If I'm not interested after 3 episodes, I'm not watching anymore. And I guess he thought that 3 episodes wouldn't be enough to grab. I was hooked after episode 1. I don't know what he was worried about. Like,
yeah, like episode 1. Also, when I watched it when they did the like mini remaster. And episode 1 was like 3 episodes long, so it's like a little mini movie.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he said give it 5 episodes.
Well, I mean, if you're watching, if it was originally 3 separate episodes as a mini movie, then that's good enough, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I think things that are like open up with a mini movie like that. The other one I can think of is Oshi no Ko. I watched the first episode of that, but I was quite happy just leaving it there because it's basically a prequel for the rest of the series.
Sure.
The rest of the series is when the kids have grown up rather than being babies. And I thought that the opening story was a good enough single movie to just like, okay, draw a line under it, cool.
I mean, fair enough. I'm just saying I don't fuck with the 3-episode rule. I will give something 3 episodes if I want to try and get into it. Sometimes
Sure.
I will drop something after 1 episode. If it's 1 hour long episodes, then I feel more comfortable dropping it after 1 episode if I'm really not getting it.
Yeah.
But, a lot of things I watch are like 20 minutes, so a 3-episode rule is an hour of my life. I've wasted an hour on dumber things.
True enough. enough.
All that to say is, yes, Harry Dresden, the titular character of Dresden Files, gets the MVP from both of us today.
Yeah. As if there was going to be much doubt.
Yeah. Like, everyone else was such a bit player in this episode, though. Like, no one else felt like they got more than, 10-minute screen time.
Yeah, like, what? There's, the ghost, and there's the lady who works for the police, and I can't tell you either of their proper names.
I think the ghost was called Bob.
It might have been.
And on that bombshell, that's our first episode in the books for our month of mystery. Next week, we'll be doing something a bit more in line with the mystery theme. And then again, this had a mystery.
It did.
Let us know in the comment section down below what you think of the first episode of Dresden Files. Should either of us actually give it more of a chance and watch more of it in our own time? Maybe we will. We don't know. What sort of things would you like to see us record in the future? Obviously, it's going to be a bit too late for you to suggest anything for the month of mystery because we've kind of got everything locked in. But who knows? If you suggest something really banger, we might replace something.
Yeah, like Constantine.
I'm tempted. But yeah, that's got the comment section down below on YouTube and Spotify. Alternatively, you can send us an email at
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Send us suggestions, send us funny comments, tell us why we're shit. If your comment or message is amusing, entertaining, or informative, we will absolutely read it out on a later episode. Otherwise, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.